The world of celebrity parties, particularly those attended by music moguls like Jay-Z, Beyoncé, P. Diddy, and Ice Cube, has always captivated the public's imagination. While glamorous red carpets and luxurious after-parties are often the focus, there's a darker side to these gatherings that has long been hidden from view. One of the most notorious examples is the freak-off parties hosted by Sean Diddy Combs, which have been linked to rumors of illicit activities, substance abuse, and even trafficking. These secretive events, once whispered about in hushed tones, are now being exposed, with figures like Ice Cube recently speaking out about the unsettling truths behind the glitz and glam. The questions surrounding these parties continue to spark intense debate and investigation. Ice Cube's bold statement. During a performance at the Yamaha Theater in Las Vegas, Ice Cube, known for his long and successful career in both music and acting, made a simple but incredibly impactful statement. He stated, "Me and WC ain't never been to a Diddy party. You ain't gotta worry about us on those mother tapes." While the words might have seemed like an offhand remark at first, the weight of what Ice Cube was implying became clear as social media and news outlets quickly picked up on it. By denying any involvement with Diddy's notorious parties, Ice Cube indirectly pointed the finger at others, suggesting that while he and WC had avoided those gatherings, others, particularly Jay-Z, may have been more involved. The significance of Ice Cube's statement was not just the denial of personal involvement, but the suggestion that the parties were not just for socializing. They may have been the site of something far more sinister. These parties, initially thought to be nothing more than over-the-top celebrity gatherings, were starting to come under increasing scrutiny as allegations of blackmail, coercion, and trafficking began to surface. The history of Diddy's parties. To understand the gravity of Ice Cube's remarks, it's essential to look back at the history of Diddy's infamous parties. These gatherings reportedly began in 1998 and continued through to 2009, with Diddy, the famed hip-hop mogul, at the center of it all. The parties were typically held at his multi-million-dollar estates, often in the most glamorous locales, from Miami to Los Angeles. It was a who's who of the entertainment industry, with A-list celebrities, top-tier musicians, and even royals rumored to be among the invitees. Diddy's parties were known for their extravagant nature, an open invitation to excess. But over time, rumors began to spread about the true nature of these events. What started as whispers among the entertainment elite soon turned into serious allegations of sexual misconduct, coercion, and the involvement of underage individuals. As more people came forward with accusations, it became clear that these parties were not just about luxury and exclusivity. They were sites for manipulation and control. The dark allegations against Diddy. Among the most disturbing accounts to emerge from these parties is the testimony of Adria Sherry English, a former dancer who worked for Diddy in the early 2000s. According to court papers, English was hired to dance at Diddy's parties, initially for modest fees. However, as she continued to work these events, things began to take a darker turn. English claims that by her third appearance at one of Diddy's parties, the atmosphere shifted drastically. What had initially been a space for dancers and entertainers to showcase their skills turned into a nightmarish ordeal. English, along with other dancers, was allegedly drugged and manipulated into performing in ways they had not agreed to. She described how Diddy's team would control what drinks they consumed, ensuring that certain bottles of champagne were reserved exclusively for the women. The champagne, according to English, was laced with substances such as ketamine and ecstasy, drugs designed to impair their judgment and render them vulnerable to exploitation. What was sold to these women as a chance to entertain high-profile guests became, according to English's account, a situation of coercion and manipulation. English's testimony was not isolated. Other women came forward to describe similar experiences, each with their own harrowing story of what they endured at these parties. The accounts painted a picture of a culture of abuse, one that was facilitated by powerful figures within the music and entertainment industry. These revelations were shocking enough on their own, but what came next was even more explosive. The allegations of trafficking and high-profile guests. In a particularly disturbing revelation, English claimed that she was trafficked to several high-profile individuals, including celebrities and even royalty. During an interview, English named Jacob the jeweler, a well-known celebrity jeweler, and a few individuals from European royal families as some of the powerful figures who attended these parties and were involved in the trafficking. One of the most startling aspects of her testimony was the suggestion that she had been sent to meet with a prince, an individual of high status from a European royal family. English explained that she had been flown out to New York, not knowing what to expect, but soon realizing that she was part of a much larger operation than she had initially thought. She detailed how she was manipulated into believing that the dancing was the only aspect of the job, only to later find herself coerced into more dangerous and exploitative situations. These shocking revelations raised the stakes in the public's perception of Diddy's parties. They suggested a sophisticated network of exploitation, one that involved celebrities, powerful business figures, and even those with royal connections. The implication that these parties were not just about excess, but about trafficking, blackmail, and control sent ripples through the entertainment world. Jay-Z's connection and the role of the inner circle. As Ice Cube's comments began to gain traction, the spotlight quickly shifted to other prominent figures associated with Diddy. One of the names that was mentioned time and time again was that of Jay-Z. While Jay-Z and Diddy were often seen as rivals in the music business, their connections went beyond mere business disagreements. They had a long history of interactions, and their paths crossed on numerous occasions, both professionally and socially. The connection between Jay-Z and Diddy became a focal point in the growing investigation into the freak-off parties. Prosecutors and investigators suggested that Jay-Z, due to his ties with Diddy and his proximity to the entertainment world, may have been aware of the activities taking place at these events. Some went so far as to suggest that Jay-Z might have been involved, or at the very least complicit, in some of the illicit activities. While these are still allegations and have yet to be proven, the link between the two moguls became a topic of intense debate in the media. The resurfacing of old photos from various parties, including those showing Beyoncé and Jay-Z attending Diddy's infamous white parties, only fueled speculation. These photos were often taken in moments of luxury and excess, yet the context of these images, coupled with the allegations, painted a much darker picture of what might have been happening behind closed doors. The growing public backlash. As more details emerged about the nature of Diddy's parties and the allegations surrounding them, public opinion began to shift. Fans of Jay-Z and Beyoncé, once ardent supporters of the couple, found themselves questioning their idols. The idea that someone as powerful and influential as Jay-Z could have been involved, even peripherally, in such a disturbing scene was a difficult pill to swallow for many. For some, it shattered the image they had long held of him as a figure of success and integrity. On the other hand, there were those who defended Jay-Z, arguing that he was just another celebrity caught up in a web of rumors and accusations, and that there was no hard evidence linking him to any wrongdoing. Still, the lack of transparency and the growing body of evidence surrounding Diddy's parties left many feeling uncomfortable about the entire situation. The allegations against Diddy and the underbelly of hip-hop. Diddy, one of the most prominent figures in hip-hop, has always been surrounded by speculation and controversy. Known for his lavish parties, he is said to have held some of the most exclusive events in the entertainment world. Events that, according to some, were far from innocent social gatherings. These parties, often referred to as white parties, were rumored to involve a variety of illicit activities, including the exploitation and trafficking of women. While many A-list celebrities were seen at these events, little did the public know about the darker secrets that allegedly lay behind the closed doors of Diddy's high-profile soiree. One such accusation comes from a former dancer, Adria Sherry English, who alleges that she was trafficked at these parties and made to perform for some of the most powerful men in the industry, including royalty. According to her, she was drugged and forced into situations that she had no control over, a narrative that reflects the ongoing exploitation and abuse faced by many women in the entertainment industry. The connections between Diddy and figures such as Russell Simmons, Harvey Weinstein, and even R. Kelly, who all share a history of abuse and exploitation, have caused many to speculate about Jay-Z's involvement in these activities. Ice Cube's bombshell revelation: the denial of Diddy's parties. In 2022, Ice Cube, the iconic West Coast rapper, made a remark during a performance in Las Vegas that sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. While on stage, Cube vehemently denied ever attending any of Diddy's infamous parties. His statement, though seemingly innocuous at the time, became a turning point in the unfolding investigation into the true nature of these events. Cube's words, "Me and WC ain't never been to a Diddy party. You ain't gotta worry about us on them motherfin' tapes," highlighted the potential involvement of other industry figures in these parties, especially Jay-Z, who had close ties to Diddy. What followed was a flurry of media attention and speculation. As Cube's words spread across social media, the public began to question the extent of Jay-Z's involvement in these gatherings. It wasn't just a matter of attendance. People started asking whether Jay-Z, as a prominent figure in the industry, played a role in facilitating these events, or perhaps even turning a blind eye to the illicit activities that allegedly took place. Cube's remark was not just a denial of his own involvement. It seemed to point a finger at those who may have been complicit, including Jay-Z, who at the time was managing Beyoncé and rising to even greater prominence within the music industry. The hidden world of secretive parties and alleged exploitation. Jay-Z's ties to Diddy and other high-profile figures in hip-hop have always been a topic of discussion. But what makes these connections even more intriguing is the level of power that these men wielded behind the scenes. It was not just about making music or managing talent. It was about controlling access to the upper echelons of society and the entertainment industry. These secretive gatherings, which often involved high-powered celebrities, were more than just parties. They were mechanisms of power, control, and exploitation. At these parties, the lines between the elite and the exploited blurred. According to some accounts, women who attended these events were often drugged and manipulated into performing sexual acts. The infamous white parties, organized by Diddy, were rumored to involve coerced sex, trafficking, and the videotaping of these illicit activities. These tapes, prosecutors allege, were not mere party souvenirs. They were tools of blackmail and power, used to manipulate and control the rich and powerful. The resurgent interest in these parties has only grown with the resurfacing of old photographs and video footage. One particularly disturbing video, released by the Daily Mail, shows Diddy speaking to guests at one of his parties saying, "Kids have an hour left." Then this thing turns into something that, when you get older, this is something y'all are gonna want to come to. This disturbing statement hints at the normalization of such events and the lure of power, pleasure, and control that was present at these gatherings. Beyoncé's father's skepticism. The first signs of trouble. Beyoncé's rise to fame was marked by her undeniable talent and hard work. Yet, many people have always questioned how quickly she ascended to the top. Her early years in the spotlight were shaped by her father, Matthew Knowles, who was her manager and business partner. However, as Beyoncé's career flourished, so did tensions within her family, particularly with her father. Matthew's strict management style and eventual departure from his daughter's professional life in 2011 painted a picture of a complex relationship. One of the key factors in the eventual rift between Beyoncé and her father was his skepticism of Jay-Z. Matthew was reportedly not fond of the idea of Beyoncé being romantically involved with Jay-Z, particularly because of their age difference. While Beyoncé was in her late teens, Jay-Z was in his early 30s, a fact that raised eyebrows in the industry. According to reports, Matthew saw Jay-Z as a seasoned mogul with his own agenda, and he expressed concerns about his daughter's future within this world of power, control, and manipulation. In a 2006 interview with NPR, Matthew was asked about his thoughts on Jay-Z as the man for his daughter. His response, "What went through my mind was, next question," was telling. It was clear that Matthew was not entirely convinced that Jay-Z had the best intentions for Beyoncé. His fears seemed to be validated when Beyoncé later severed ties with him as her manager, citing professional disagreements and allegations of theft. The Band-Aid baby theory, a child to fix a failing relationship? As Beyoncé and Jay-Z's relationship progressed, rumors began circulating about their personal life. The term Band-Aid baby was used by some to describe their first children, the twins born in 2017. The idea behind this theory is that the couple may have had children in an attempt to repair a faltering relationship. While this remains purely speculative, it is a common narrative in the entertainment world where couples sometimes use children to mend broken bonds or distract from growing issues in their relationship. Despite the rumors, Beyoncé and Jay-Z have continued to present themselves as a power couple, successfully blending their professional and personal lives. But the deeper questions surrounding their rise to fame and the secrets hidden behind their public personas have persisted. Many believe that the couple's success was not just due to their talent, but also their close connections to figures like Diddy, who had control over much of the industry's inner workings. The ties that bind. Jay-Z's alleged involvement in the dark side of hip-hop. Jay-Z's rise to the top of the music industry was not just a result of his musical talent. His strategic partnerships and ability to maneuver in the world of elite hip-hop figures, such as Diddy and Russell Simmons, gave him unprecedented access to power. As his relationship with Beyoncé progressed, many began to question whether Jay-Z's ambitions and connections also involved dark dealings behind the scenes. His relationship with Diddy has always been a point of contention. As the two men grew in influence and wealth, they also became entangled in the industry's most sordid elements. Jay-Z's involvement with artists like R. Kelly, who has faced numerous allegations of sexual abuse and exploitation, and his continued friendship with Diddy, who is accused of orchestrating secretive parties with disturbing activities, has led to questions about Jay-Z's own role in these dark networks. Jay-Z's dominance in the industry. Jay-Z, born Sean Corey Carter, was already an established figure in the music world long before he met Beyoncé. Having founded Rockefeller Records in the mid-90s, Jay-Z quickly became a mogul in the hip-hop industry. His albums, including Reasonable Doubt and The Blueprint, cemented his status as one of the greatest rappers of all time. By the early 2000s, Jay-Z was not only a successful rapper, but also a savvy businessman. He had his hands in many aspects of the music industry, including managing other artists, making multi-million-dollar deals, and controlling the narratives of his career. However, Jay-Z's influence wasn't limited to the music industry. He had long been associated with exclusive social circles, notably befriending and collaborating with other moguls like Diddy, Russell Simmons, and later Kanye West. These connections opened doors to lavish parties and closed-door gatherings, where the most influential figures in entertainment met to discuss deals, politics, and personal matters. These parties, while often celebrated for their excess and opulence, had a much darker side. Allegations of manipulation, sexual exploitation, and even abuse at these events have surfaced over the years. Beyoncé's career, the dual role of wife and artist. When Beyoncé Knowles was introduced to the world as the lead singer of Destiny's Child, in the late 90s, she was a young, ambitious artist with dreams of global stardom. Her undeniable talent soon earned her recognition as one of the most powerful voices in music. However, as she navigated her rise to fame, her personal and professional lives began to merge in ways that would change the trajectory of her career. When Beyoncé met Jay-Z in the year 2000, she was just 19 years old. Jay-Z, 31 at the time, was already an industry veteran. Their relationship quickly turned romantic, sparking intense media interest. At first glance, the couple seemed like the epitome of a power couple, both incredibly talented, incredibly successful, and deeply in love. But there were layers to this relationship that the public did not see. Jay-Z didn't just manage Beyoncé's career. He had a significant role in shaping her image, decisions, and even her involvement in certain events. As Beyoncé's manager and partner, Jay-Z was responsible for making crucial decisions about her bookings, performances, and public appearances. His presence in her career raised questions about the level of control he exerted over her professional choices. While many saw this as a natural collaboration between two artists at the peak of their powers, others began to speculate about the power dynamics at play. Was Beyoncé truly in control of her career? Or was she simply playing the role of a talented pawn in Jay-Z's larger game of influence? The dark side of the industry: exploitation and secrets. In the world of high society parties, exclusivity reigns supreme. The most coveted events were often invitation-only gatherings held by influential figures such as Diddy. These parties were known for their extravagance, but beneath the surface, darker activities allegedly took place. Several former partygoers and industry insiders have claimed that these events were far from harmless social gatherings. Private rooms, suggestive of illicit activities, were reportedly set up for sex acts, with guests being encouraged to stay quiet if they wanted to keep their place in the circle. For a young artist like Beyoncé, just starting out in the industry, the pressure to fit in with these powerful people was immense. While Jay-Z's management and connections opened doors for her, these very connections also placed her in a world where exploitation, manipulation, and control were the norms. In a male-dominated industry where the lines between business and personal affairs were often blurred, Beyoncé was forced to navigate a delicate balance between maintaining her career and surviving a world where her image and identity were constantly shaped by others. Insiders have revealed that these parties were often places where power dynamics were skewed, with women, in particular, being vulnerable to manipulation. As Jay-Z's wife and business partner, Beyoncé had to trust him implicitly, but this also meant that her involvement in these events was often decided by him. While she was the face of the operation, it was Jay-Z who was calling the shots. This, many believe, placed Beyoncé in a vulnerable position, one where her professional choices and personal safety were sometimes left in the hands of her husband. The allegations: Jay-Z's ties to R. Kelly and Diddy. Over the years, Jay-Z's associations with controversial figures like R. Kelly and Diddy have raised eyebrows. Both men have faced serious allegations of sexual misconduct, including claims involving underage girls. While Jay-Z has distanced himself from these individuals publicly, many believe that he was either complicit or at least aware of the activities taking place behind closed doors. The fact that Jay-Z was so closely aligned with these figures has led some to speculate about his own involvement, especially when it came to events organized by Diddy, who is known for hosting infamous parties that allegedly involved sexual exploitation. Legal cases involving Diddy and R. Kelly continue to unfold, and some of the most powerful players in the music industry are facing scrutiny. As these allegations gain more traction, it becomes harder to ignore the possibility that Jay-Z was more than just an observer. Could he have been part of this world of exploitation, or was he simply another victim of the corrupt system he found himself in? The reality remains unclear, but the growing number of accusations against figures like Diddy suggests that Jay-Z may have been much more involved than previously thought. Beyoncé's Lemonade, a revelation of betrayal and pain. In 2016, Beyoncé released Lemonade, an album that shocked the world with its raw and emotional exploration of infidelity, betrayal, and personal pain. The album, which included tracks like Sorry and Hold Up, hinted at the turmoil Beyoncé experienced within her marriage. While the public was initially captivated by the album's stunning visuals and powerful lyrics, the deeper implications of the album's message began to surface. Lemonade was not just a musical statement, it was an unflinching confession of the pain Beyoncé endured in her marriage, compounded by the pressure of living in the public eye. In the aftermath of Lemonade, Jay-Z responded with 444, an album that took on the persona of an apology. In it, he acknowledged his faults and expressed remorse for his actions. "I took for my child to be born to see through a woman's eyes," Jay-Z rapped, reflecting on how becoming a father helped him understand the hurt he caused. For fans, this album was a revelation of Jay-Z's internal struggle as he tried to make amends for the mistakes of his past. The future of Jay-Z and Beyoncé. What lies ahead? Despite their personal struggles, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have managed to build a successful empire together. Their music, business ventures, and public personas have made them icons in the entertainment industry. However, as legal battles and allegations continue to mount, it remains to be seen how their legacy will be affected. Will they continue to rise above the scrutiny, or will the dark side of their past come to light in ways they can't control? One thing is certain: as long as they remain in the spotlight, their personal and professional lives will continue to be the subject of intense speculation and intrigue. Fans and critics alike will continue to wonder about the true nature of their relationship and the sacrifices they've made to reach the top. The story of Jay-Z and Beyoncé is one of triumph, betrayal, and survival, but only time will tell how it ultimately unfolds.